How we doing today? Hope everybody out there is feeling healthy. Alright. Let's not have any further delays. I'm going to start out by answering a few of these viewer questions that I got. It was requested that I do another Ask Me Anything video, and so I put out a video asking for questions. I didn't end up getting that many, but I'll answer the questions that I have now, since we could wait for more questions, but that does not seem like to happen. So, the first question was, how old are you? Well, I'm 37 currently. What is my favorite game? That would be Phantasy Star 4 for the Sega Genesis. What is my favorite anime? That would be the Dragon Ball series. Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super. I know, talking about Dragon Ball Z and stuff can be a little polarizing. Some people don't like it that much, but I started watching it when I was about 13 and I never looked back. What is my favorite food? Steak. I love a good, well-cooked steak. And do I have any guilty pleasure movies or TV shows? Well, I didn't write any TV shows because I don't watch that much TV these days. The only things I really watch on TV, in the rare occasions that I'm watching TV, are Ridiculousness on MTV, Impractical Jokers, that's really it. Occasionally, my wife and I will watch some of the restaurant shows, like Kitchen Nightmares, things like that. But largely, if I'm watching things, it's like stuff on YouTube or, watching Twitch streamers and things like that. So guilty pleasure movies. I had to really look up what a guilty pleasure movie was, and apparently it's like a movie that people like despite it not being all that great of a movie, or a movie that, while may have been like, I guess critically unpopular, it still has a devoted fan base. So I looked up a list of movies that were considered to be guilty pleasure movies, and the ones that I found that I like are Bloodsport, Labyrinth, Rocky IV, Commando, and Conan the Barbarian. So that does it for the questions. Let's move on to burning the bad games. First game, Spec Ops 2 Omega Squad. Let's see. It's a pretty good song. So let's talk about this game. Apparently in Spec Ops 2 Omega Squad, there really is no squad, because unlike the first game, they whittled out the squad-based elements and you're only controlling a single player. Which some people saw as sort of a silver lining, because the squad elements were stripped out of the game. And some people liked that because, hold on, I need to, reset my head, because I didn't sleep well last night. Excuse me. Okay, they tore the squad-based elements out of the game, and you're only controlling one soldier. Some people like that because the way it was done in the first game was not well done at all. But it ended up also like removing a lot of the tactical elements from the game. So it was a lot more one-dimensional and boring. It also had very confusing control scheme. There was only 4 directional movement, so you couldn't like move diagonal or anything to sort of strafe around enemies, and people found that aggravating. And there was also, like, to pick up items, you had to like sort of scroll through this very odd menu, and people didn't like that at all. And there was also no run and gun. So, like, whenever you like run, you point your weapon at the ground and run. So there was no run and gun, which also meant that if, you know, when you're approaching enemies, you're just a moving target. Very bad draw distance. And this ended up so that you could, the draw distance was such that you could be hit by enemies that you could not see. And not because they were hidden, but simply because they hadn't been drawn on the screen yet, but from a programming standpoint, the enemy could see you and shoot you. It was quite terrible. And as I mentioned, it had overly simplistic gameplay because they took out all of the tactical elements. Very nice. Alright, next game. 90 minutes. Sega Championship Football. Well, we have to get out the sports ball for that. So, here's a, I don't know if you'd call it a fun story, but, I was looking around on the internet quite a bit. The way I do these Little Inferno, videos is that, you know, I go around to different websites and try to find, you know, opinions on the game and see which, flaws of these bad games stick out the most. And this game here, 90 minutes, Sega Championship Football. I could not find a single concise printed review anywhere. Now, I don't know if that's because this is a PAL game, and like, so there were no other sites that reviewed it popped up, because I guess there were no American reviews for it. But you'd think I might have found a UK one, but I didn't. So this game is so obscure, I guess, here in America, and so bad that there are no reviews for it, at least none that I could find. So this game has to be terrible. Hope everybody's enjoying the music. Alright, next game. Spirit of Speed, 1937. There we go. So, Spirit of Speed 1937. This was the final game brought to us by the illustrious game publisher known as LJN. Or as James Rolfe puts it, Laughin' Jokin' Numbnuts. So, let's get this nice wooden old-timey stuff out. This game suffered from horrendous animation. As so many bad games do. There were also very long loading screens. Very unreliable controls. And excessively long courses. I was reading in the reviews that one lap could take you up to 4 minutes. 4 minutes. And whole races could take you a half hour. That's kind of ridiculous. I mean, I can understand them trying to offer the players value, but that's not really the way to do it, especially when all the other elements in the game are not that good. And very poor graphics, including screen slowdown, and absolutely no music. No background music during the races. So, Bubblexy 79. This is Little Inferno. I have it through the Epic Games Store. And I'm using it for burning cover art for bad video games. Welcome to the stream, by the way. Hope your day is going really well. Next game on the list. Urban Chaos. If I can find it. There it is. Appreciate that, Bubblexy. Or Lex Lee. Wait. Bubba Bexley. Okay. Sorry about butchering your name there. So let's talk about Urban Chaos. The first problem in this game is that it's noticeably inferior to the PC version. And when they ported it to the console, they offloaded all of the technical tweaks to the player by adding options. Oh, okay, it's a character from Sanford and Son. I got you. So they put all these options in Urban Chaos to like change the shading and things like that in order to have the game not run like trash. Instead of like actually programming it to run properly and so the frame rates didn't drop. So, that right away was a big problem. I mean, it's understandable on PC, since everyone's PC is different. You give them the options to change up the specs, you know, on the options screen to change, you know, hardware settings and things like that. Or, you know what I mean, the emulation settings. But, on Dreamcast, they should have just actually fixed it to make it run nicely on the Dreamcast, but they didn't do that. They put it off on the player instead. So, also, very awkward control scheme and bad sound engineering. Apparently the sound effects in this game were terrible. So let's give it the treatment it deserves. Very nice. Next game on the list. Nightmare Creatures 2. There we go. So, let's talk about Nightmare Creatures 2. I actually played the demo for the first Nightmare Creatures game on a PlayStation Jam Pack disc. Never actually owned the games though, a little disappointed. But this game suffered from bad camera angles, as so many bad games do. And there was also apparently excessive side tracking. It's normal in like a lot of adventure games where you go off on side paths a little bit. You know, to find keys and other things like that before continuing along the main path to the goal. But apparently this game got way carried away with that, to the point to where it was tedious. And apparently, as for combat, if you aggroed an enemy, you were locked into fighting it and couldn't run. So some people found that aggravating. I know I would, because sometimes you just want to run from combat. And it also didn't help that the combat became repetitive. To its credit, there's a lot of specific combos that go along with beating certain, or not combos, but there's very specific death animations for a lot of the different enemies, and good like death sound effects. But eventually the novelty wears off, and the tedium of constantly having to fight certain battles gets to you. And it doesn't help that the environments are very bland and also repetitive in their own way, with, you know, constantly reused textures and images. So let's give Nightmare Creatures its fond farewell. Outstanding. Now, next game. Huh. ECW Anarchy Rules. So we got ourselves a wrestling game, so let's get ourselves a nice roster of wrestlers. And let's talk about ECW Anarchy Rules. Apparently, this game is like gameplay-wise, not necessarily in terms of features, but gameplay-wise, it's a carbon copy of WWF Attitude. Apparently, Acclaim made both games and made absolutely no major changes to the framework. So it's just WWF Attitude with ECW coat of paint. Okay. And let's see. Apparently it was also not ECW themed enough. Like, ECW was known for being very edgy in terms of its matches. You know, a lot more focus on, you know, steel chairs and other violent aspects and ladders and tables and, you know, things of that nature. I remember a long time ago when I was a kid watching ECW. It was the first time I ever saw ECW. It was on Channel 19. And it was a 6-man tag team match. And it was this group of 3 dudes that were just pounding the tar out of the other 3 people and just going around the ring, and like all around the ring it seemed like there was just trash everywhere. There's just random objects everywhere. There was people in the audience. Someone in the audience actually handed one of the guys a baseball bat and he took it. It blew my mind. Excuse me. So if you're expecting to have any of that cool stuff in this game, well, you're going to be disappointed. Very, very plain presentation. Apparently they didn't put very much around the ring itself, so it doesn't have the entire look of, you know, being, you know, at the event, so there's not a lot of immersion. And they had like just a 2D audience that just looked like the cardboard cutouts that they have at sporting events now to not make them look sad because the stands are empty. One review even mentioned the fact that Dusty Rhodes is in the game, and he was hating on Dusty Rhodes, and I didn't appreciate that because Dusty Rhodes is the man. May he rest in peace. So, let's give this game the attention it deserves. Oh, the ninja just went poof. Ninja vanish. Alright, next game on the list. Star Wars Demolition. Let's get all the things around here associated with demolition. Sure. Perfect. So let's talk about this game. Star Wars Demolition. It's funny. One of the main, well, maybe not the main, but apparently this game has very little replay value. Let's find out why. Very unbalanced gameplay. Because for one, the whole premise, well, not the whole premise, but one of the mechanics of the game is trying to save up 10,000 credits to unlock bonuses. That's a problem because you're constantly spending your credits to upgrade your vehicle and repair your vehicle and stuff like this. So it can be sort of a crapshoot in trying to get, you know, to those 10,000 credits. Especially, apparently, it's very difficult to damage the enemies. So the gameplay is not very tight and it's not very balanced. And the battle sequences themselves are too long. Alright, we're not going to wait the extra minute and a half. Ah! I always do that. Okay, we'll get another copy of it. The song's called Pompous Platypus. That's funny. You pompous platypus. Smoosh. Alright, so let's see what's going to happen first. Straight up sounds like a Nintendo game. So we're going to set the truck on fire. Let's see if it sets the game on fire first, it detonates the barrel, or it runs the game into the buzzsaw. Oh, whoa. Knuckles is related to the platypus. Oh, he's an echidna. I did not know the echidna was related to the platypus. Handy piece of info. And good morning, Karen. I saw your comments earlier, but didn't figure they really needed to be read out just yet. I'll save that till the end. Monotremes? Oh, is that like a classification of animal? Next game, Exhibition of Speed. Wait, no, that's Spirit of Speed. Where's Exhibition of Speed? Oh, EOS. Oh, good boy. There we are. Let's have ourselves a small discussion about EOS. I mean, if anybody's played any of these games that I'm showing, I mean, I don't imagine, since a few of them are PAL region games, but... so this is a racing game as well. Apparently, this game made the mistake of making their championship mode borderline pointless. Because in a lot of racing games, you have to race. Yes, Karen, I'll read your stuff at the end. You need not worry. In a lot of racing games, the object is to race in order to unlock certain things. Other modes, other cars, things like that. Apparently in this game, every possible thing you can do in the game is available from the very start. So, if you play championship mode, you're playing it purely for the glory. So, maybe some people like that none of the game's features are locked behind a skill wall, and you don't have to win to get everything. But I'm pretty sure, you know, hardcore race game fans probably didn't like that. This game also suffered from misleading advertising. On the back of the box, it said that the game has 15 tracks, which is misleading. Very misleading. There's actually 5 tracks, but each of the 5 tracks has 3 different modes that you can play it on. There's like easy, hard, and time trial, or something like that. So that's represented by the nesting doll. And let's see. Unstable frame rates, par for the course. Poorly programmed AI. So apparently it's very common in this game for the AI to just fly off the track and wedge themselves into a wall. Because, as I read, the AI was not programmed to use reverse in this game. So if they get put off the track for whatever reason, or just run off the track or whatever, they're pretty much out of the race. Unless they do something that forces a respawn, which I don't know if there's any of that in this game. But whew. So, poorly programmed AI. The controls were broken. And very, very ugly textures. Oh. Blown apart. How appropriate. Next game. Hope everybody's enjoying the music as much as I am. Ducati World. There it is. Alright, let's talk about Ducati World. Well, Ducati World Racing Challenge being the full title. Has very plain and dated visuals, poor sound effects, very bad course design. So I'll design a Ducati World Racing Challenge course right here. Very nice. And improperly programmed controls. And when I say improperly, they don't do... Like, here's the thing. Like, apparently you can, like, ride the brakes in situations where if you rode the brake while steering a bike in real life, it would throw you from the bike and injure you. So, the people who programmed this game didn't know the first thing about bike racing, and probably didn't get any consult on how to properly program a bike racing game either. So let's show them what we think of that. Huh, didn't get all of it. Well, we'll fix that, won't we? Come on. Alright. Next game on the list. Sonic Shuffle. It's a great song, too. So, Sonic Shuffle. I talked about this game in my Bad Sonic Game videos. You can go back and watch those if you really, really want to. So, this was Sega's answer to Mario Party, and it was a very bad answer, as we remember. It had very poor pacing. Apparently, the game board, which the part of the game, takes place on, where you move around the board, apparently they didn't really space the games and implement the games in such a way that it was guaranteed. Because it was actually possible to, based on your rolls, or I don't know if you spin or what in this game, because I've never played it, but it's possible to get from the starting point of the game board to the finish without playing any mini games at all. Oh, monotremes are egg-laying mammals. I gotcha. Yeah, I knew the part about platypi laying eggs. Did not know the name of their classification. Let's have the mushrooms for the Mushroom Kingdom, since this game is a ripoff of Mario. Poorly designed mini games. And long loading times. Because that's what you gotta have in a game that's aimed mostly at kids. Sit around and make kids wait. That's a recipe for success. So Sonic Shuffle will shuffle off this mortal coil once again. Ugh, pardon me. Come on, come on, burn up, burn up. There we go. So, because of my inability to find any good information about 90 minutes Sega Championship football, and since I've burnt Sonic Shuffle before, I decided to add one more game to make this list more full and more complete. Wait, where's that other one? Yeah, here it is. So, let's talk about this game. Jeremy McGrath Supercross 2000. So I went down a list of, I went and found a list of worst Dreamcast games. And a lot of the games that I've already burnt here were already on it. So I looked for the game that was closest to the bottom, but not on the list that was already provided. And it was this. Jeremy McGrath Supercross 2000. Apparently the game does not have accurate physics. You can turn on a dime, mostly just speed your way to the, speed your way around the track with hardly ever using the brakes. So, once again, just like Ducati World, there was not much, or if any, consultation from actual bike riders on how to properly program bike physics. You can do stunts in the game, but they're pointless because they don't get you anything extra like they would normally in other stunt racing games. Unless you're actually in stunt mode. That's the only point to doing stunts in the game. And then there's a lack of balance in the difficulties. It's completely too easy. It's apparently very common for the computer to wipe out. And even then, they, like, as one person put it, you could wipe out 5 times, do half a lap backwards, and then still win by a considerable margin. The AI is that bad, even on the higher difficulties. The textures are horrible, and people compared them to the N64, which is not a compliment for a disc-based console. Poor frame rates, par for the course for bad racing games. And apparently the weather effects in this game, harkening back to the inaccurate physics once again, the weather effects in the game were purely aesthetic. Like, if it was rainy, like, the mud on the track didn't impact how your bike handled at all or anything like that. So, somebody just, I guess, wanted to take advantage of Jeremy McGrath's popularity at the time, and I guess got him to endorse a game. I mean, his actual voice is in the game with, like, gameplay tips, apparently, like, between races or something like that. But it just did not turn out to be a good game. So let's see, how do we want to start this? So let's burn up this cloud. Oh, the bike doesn't roll by itself? Okay. Oh, acid rain. Okay. Acid burns are still a type of burning. We burnt the game. So, that does it for the Dreamcast. I actually played a little Dreamcast myself, because my brother had a Dreamcast. And we actually played good games for it. My other brother, he played an RPG game called Evolution. Pretty good. I watched him play a lot of it. Solid game. If you have a Dreamcast and can find a copy, I recommend it. We played a lot of Marvel vs. Capcom. That was fun. Power Stone, another good game. Trying to remember. Oh, it's funny. This game was also on the list of bad games, but we all had fun playing it. It was called Ready to Rumble Boxing. And it actually had the voice of Michael Buffer in it. It was great. But the Dreamcast came to us the same year as SpongeBob SquarePants, Sierra Mist Soda, and Super Smash Bros. And it was the last console Sega ever produced before they decided to quit the console game and go into third-party game development. So that's why we got Shadow the Hedgehog on GameCube, and Sonic and Mario at the Olympic Games, and all that wonderful good stuff. So that's that list done and dusted, and I couldn't be happier. So let me think. Next list is going to be original Xbox games. And that'll come around on Wednesday? Yes, Wednesday. So make sure you're parked in front of the fireplace for that with your hot cocoa and your blanket. So thanks for going through this burn session with me. I appreciate y'all hanging out. I'm going to take a small break, get me a drink, get set up, and coming back with more Phantasy Star 4 Purgatory mode. And we'll just see if I manage to die and make my salad of self-loathing even bigger. So, don't go far, because I'll be back in probably less than an hour. So once again, thank you all for watching. And, I suppose